Hello pilots, Max here, and today I'll be reviewing the J5N1 in air simulator battles. Advertised as a high-speed interceptor, is it viable for its role? The J5N1 is certainly a very powerful interceptor. Equipped with dual 20mm and dual 30mm cannons, this Japanese twin-engine has more than enough firepower to obliterate any bomber you come across. You should equip the tracer belt if you wish to only carry HE shells, and universal ammo if you prefer to have a few armor-piercing shells for limited ground attack capability. I would strongly recommend against flying below 5,000 feet in this plane, however, as its lackluster turn rate and relatively large size make you a very easy target for enemy fighters. You should only ever use the J5N1 as an interceptor. Load it up with around 30 to 45 minutes of fuel, take off, and climb to around 6,000 to 7,000 feet, and either wait for the destroy AI planes to appear, or the player-controlled bombers to start flying towards your airspace. While its cannons do suffer from the general poor spread and velocity characteristic of Japanese guns, their position being mounted directly in the nose makes aiming upon straight flying targets relatively easy, and the powerful explosive filler allows you to take long-range shots with the confidence that it only takes 1 or 2 shells to take down a bomber. Even though the J5N1 is very much outside of its comfort zone at low altitudes, it is still a very valuable asset when it comes to destroying AI attack aircraft. The cannons may make it difficult to hit the targets while they're maneuvering for their attack run, so it might be better for you to choose to engage the targets when they're flying to or from the ground targets, when they're flying in a straight line. Now, something I'll mention here is the fact that I'm using manual engine control. It's a setting you can enable by going into controls for aircraft and turning on full real mode. I will not go into detail here as I'll be elaborating on it in a future video, but for the discussion here, the only important feature of manual engine control is the fact that I can change the position of the radiators. Here, if I set my engine power to 110% war emergency power and open the radiators fully, that's the best way to maintain a top speed in this aircraft, obviously at the cost of fuel efficiency. Overall, I found that shooting down these AI attack aircraft or AI bombers is an excellent way of easily getting score in Air Simulator, especially when flying an interceptor. Considering the fact that those planes fly very straight, have gunners who behave very predictably, and the game literally tells you, not exactly, but generally where the planes are, it doesn't take a lot of effort to get to them, find them, and shoot them down. The only issue that you might run into is the fact that sometimes clouds will be obscuring the position of the bombers, so it will be difficult to get a shot even if you know exactly where they are. After intercepting those AI planes, I spot one of my teammates getting hounded by a P-51 and make the mistake of trying to help him out. The correct thing here to do would be to simply ignore the fighter and try to keep flying straight to my airfield, as the J5N1 stands absolutely no chance against the Mustang. Yet I still try to go for the kill, despite the fact that the only form of fighting this plane can do, which is boom and zoom, is unavailable due to my lack of energy advantage over that P-51, since we merged at very low altitudes. Furthermore, since I started the dogfight at a low altitude, I cannot simply put the plane into a dive to try to outrun the Mustang, and in a straight line, I'm simply not fast enough. So at this point I'm already resigning to the fact that I'm gonna lose this fight. So I try to keep flying until I get to the airfield. Now here is where the sturdiness of the J5N1 really does shine, because I took a lot of hits before finally going down. Unfortunately, I was slightly too far away from my airfield to make it, and the Mustang's 50 cal slowly shredded my plane apart before I could actually get to an airfield. Now, one aspect the J5N1 absolutely does not struggle with, however, is of course high altitude interception. I found that the best way to get kills in this thing is to find a bomber and approach them while out of line of sight of the pilot, preferably from the side, to avoid the most potent guns, which tend to be located in the rear. Once you're within about 500 meters of the target, pull the trigger and expect the bomber to go down, as the J5N1's cannons are absolutely brutal. Alternatively, if you're facing AI bombers, you can approach them from behind and stay just barely out of reach of their gunners, since I found that they actually have this weird, surprisingly fixed range at which they're willing to shoot. If you stay far enough away, the gunners just ignore you, which is very helpful for, as you can see here, just flying up behind them and surgically removing the planes from the formation one by one. So yeah, just line up with the bombers, fire a couple bursts per plane, and expect little to no resistance. This is, as previously discussed, super easy way to get score in an interceptor such as the J5N1. Here, after I have destroyed that PE-8, I kept flying towards the enemy side of the map and find some aircraft circling each other, and I fly in to try to find the target. It takes me a couple of moments to figure out what's going on in the commotion, but I realize that the plane behind me is an enemy F8F, and I try to go for the kill. Here, my only chance realistically should be the kill in the head-on, and I miss it. So normally that would spell doom for me, especially since right after I've prematurely extended my flaps, breaking them off. Most fighters should be able to easily outturn me, but I am facing an F8F, which is one of the heaviest fighters in the battle rating, I'm assuming with extra fuel, judging by how it's flying, and carrying additional gun pods, which adds weight, drag, and generally ruins its maneuverability. So here, he's not in an advantageous situation. Having an enemy plane on his tail obviously is not something you want, but his engine power and turn rate is enough that if he entered a turn more vertically, he should be able to get on my tail. But luckily for me, the pilot seems inexperienced and keeps flying in a relatively straight line, not exploiting his plane's strengths, which are the acceleration in the vertical or the turn rate. Now, in the J5N1, the flaps are a very useful tool if you use them at low speeds to slightly increase your turn rate if you need to just barely pull your nose up towards the target, such as, for example, here. Now, thankfully for me, that F8F seems to not only be overweight, but also not have a very experienced pilot. All of this not exploiting the strength of your plane, generally just flying in a straight line, seemingly even losing me at points, really shows that he is beginning. Really shows that he is a beginner at the game, and that explains the dogfighting skill that we're seeing here. Now, after a painfully long dogfight and a lot of painfully bad aim from me, I finally land a 20mm high explosive shell into his wing, finally downing my target. Here I was intercepted by an AI P-38 Lightning. That plane is both faster and more maneuverable than mine, so realistically there isn't much I should be able to do. Furthermore, his first hit severely damaged my engine, which instantly takes me out of the fight. While the J5N1 has respectable engine power normally, any damage to the engine or the engine's fluid system should be cause for disengaging, as your only advantage, the engine power, is now lost. Now thankfully, since the plane that was intercepting me was AI, he will not be sticking around to confirm the kill, and abandons me to return to his formation. While the J5N1 cannot fight with one engine, it can certainly still fly with one. Keeping low to the ground, I managed to nurse this wounded plane back to the base, preserving both my plane and my dignity as a pilot. The J5N1 is good at what it's meant to do, but not too much more. Its high engine power, good lift, and powerful armament make for a very effective interceptor, whether you're hunting for AI or players. The ability to do high-speed passes around bombers also helps in avoiding damage. The nose-mounted guns allow for long-range engagement, and its durability allows you to return to the base even after taking serious damage. If you're looking for some interceptor gameplay for Japan, this is definitely one of, if not the plane for you. While I wouldn't say it's the perfect plane for a beginner, it's easy enough to control and manage if you're looking to get a hang of flying an interceptor against higher tiered bombers. I hope you all found this video informative and entertaining. Flying the planes in the Japanese tech tree has been very fun for me lately, but of course I want to hear your suggestions on things I need to fly next. The Yak-9K is 100% on the list of planes I'll be reviewing. I just have a backlog of videos I need to release before that. Also, soon I'll be getting access to the R2Y tools, and I'm excited to see how they'll perform in Sim. As always, thank you all for watching and take care.